Namaskar and a very good afternoon to all our distinguished attendees. Mr. Ajay Kumar Shahani, IAS Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, our distinguished chief guest. Mr. Raj Kiran Rai, Chairman, Indian Banks Association and MD and CEO, Union Bank of India. Dr. Deepak B Fartak, Professor Emeritus, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and our Honorable Jury Chairman for the year 2020 awards. Our awards jury members, Mr. Sunil Mehta, Chief Executive, Indian Banks Association, Chairman and Managing Directors and CEOs, Executive Directors, Senior Executives of member banks. Award winners are sponsors, knowledge partners, presenters, participating delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Swati Datta, a humble member of the IB family and your host for this wonderful and glittering afternoon. This momentous occasion is extremely exciting. It's a profound moment for members of our wonderful banking fraternity to converge and recognize those who have excelled in diverse areas in 2019-2020. We at IBA are delighted that the 16th annual edition of the largest banking industry recognition has been put together in a span of few weeks with tremendous spirit and enthusiasm. Today's award ceremony is beamed live for the benefit of our member banks and who can currently watch it from any part of the country. Dear members, I feel privileged to initiate the various sessions of today's program. And to initiate today's proceedings, we will have the virtual lighting of the inaugural lamp. I request our distinguished chief guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Ajay Kumar Sani, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, to light the traditional lamp. Thank you indeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we now start our inaugural session and which will be followed by the award ceremony. To begin with, I now call upon Mr. Sunil Mehta, Chief Executive, Indian Banks Association, to deliver his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Warm good evening and hearty welcome to you all for this IBA's 16th Annual Banking Technology Award event. IBA has been conducting Annual Banking Technology Award event since 2004 for recognizing and rewarding the best performing banks in the area of banking technology, digitalization, and innovation. In view of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, this year the award event is being conducted only in virtual mode. It is great honor for me to cordially welcome Shri Ajay Prakash Swani ji, Secretary Mighty, Government of India and Chief Guest of the event. I am pleased to welcome Madam Simi Chaudhary, Economic Advisor, Ministry of IT, Government of India. I am also glad to heartily welcome Dr. Deepak B Fartak, Professor Emeritus, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Mumbai, and Head of the Technology Award Jury. I cordially welcome members of the award jury, Shri Dilip Esbe, MD and CEO, NPCI, Shri Gagan Rai, former MD and CEO, NSDL, E-Governance Infrastructure, Madam Ashu Suyash, MD and CEO, CRISIL, Shri Shiv Kumar Basin, Chief Technology and Operating Officers, NSE. The last 1 year experience of pandemic has shown us that technology is the lifeline for economies, government, companies, and people. Financial sector is not an exception to this global phenomenon. Entire banking industry in the country has risen to the occasion and has been able to deliver continuous and uninterrupted financial services to the customer during the course of pandemic. Even direct benefit transfer to a substantial extent could happen in a very small number of days. But for the robust technology ecosystem put in the place by the banks with inbuilt resilience and business continuity plan, this kind of seamless service delivery, even amidst the most difficult circumstances, would not have been possible. Pandemic has further accelerated the digital transformation in the banks and adoption of digital channels by the customers. This is evident from the meteoric growth registered during 2020 by UPI, the predominant digital payment system in the country, both in number and value of transactions. UPI transactions more than doubled by value and increased 70% by numbers during 2020. In view of the rapidly changing and ever-evolving technology landscape, banks are required to further enhance their digital capabilities by embracing new technologies like machine learning, artificial intelligence, natural language processing, robotic process automation, quantum computing, distributed ledger technology. Banks may need to explore collaborations with the fintechs and other third-party service providers by adoption of open banking through APIs that can boost business resilience and competitive advantage. My compliments and congratulations to the award-winning banks to be announced shortly, and also to the banks who have submitted their nominations to the IBA Technology Awards. I once again warmly welcome all of you and wish you all a happy and pleasant experience of this award event. Thank you for your attendance today.
Thank you, sir. May I now call upon Mr. Rajkiran Rai, Chairman, Indian Banks Association and MD and CEO, Union Bank of India, to deliver the Chairman's address.
Good evening, respected Shri Ajay Prakash Sawhney, IAS Secretary Mighty, Dr. Deepak Fartak, who is Chairman of the jury for these awards, all the dignitaries who are attending this event, all my colleagues from the banking industry, our partners who are with us in this 16th Annual Technology Awards. It's a pleasure to see you all celebrating the tech achievers of banking and finance fraternity. You concur with me that today technology is rapidly changing the financial services industry and the way banks do business and customers access financial products and services. Technology can enable building new ways of working and interacting, add much needed adaptability and resilience, and create new experiences and ways of doing business. More industries and sectors than ever have embraced the axiom that every business is a technology business, and they have ignited a new era of exponential digital transformation as technology continuously reshapes industries and the human experience. Now, as we begin shaping our post-pandemic reality, technology is going to play the pivotal role in business process reengineering, product innovations, and operational resilience much needed for adapting to the new normal. Banks need to gear up for accelerating their digital transformation journey by effectively leveraging many innovations and building collaborations in the areas like open or challenger banking, where platforms are developed that can allow financial institutions to connect to the broader API ecosystem. Artificial intelligence and machine learning powered platforms to manage core business processes. Business analytics for mining the data and identity patterns to better understand customer behavior and his financial needs. Personalized advice platforms from investment to lending. Digital lending and crowdfunding. Blockchain technology-based solutions for trade digitization, cross-border remittances, real-time reconciliation, etc. Natural language processing and chatbots to facilitate conversational banking. This adoption of latest technologies is more relevant and necessary now than ever to effectively face the following challenges and grab the new business opportunities. Ever-rising consumer demand for more holistic banking experience. Pandemic-induced accelerated demand for digital transformation. To gain competitive advantage over the existing players within and outside the ecosystem and the new entrants. Disruptive innovations being propelled into the ecosystem by the big techs like Google, Amazon, WhatsApp, Apple, and many fintech startups in the product offerings, business processes, service delivery, business analytics, etc. RBI framework for authorization of pan-India umbrella entities. This is likely to bring massive changes and innovations in future in the digital payment ecosystem in the country through new tie-ups and partnerships at industry level. Then the risk mitigation and fraud prevention through real-time tracking and surveillance mechanisms. Growing compliance requirements, effective governance and oversight. The technology trends for 2021 as visualized by a global tech company are strategic technology stack. A new era of industry competition is dawning where companies compete on their architecture. The technology architecture is becoming critical for overall success of the organization. Mirrored world, the power of massive intelligent digital twins. Growing investments in data, artificial intelligence, and digital twin technologies are giving rise to a new generation of business and intelligence, the mirrored world. The democratization of technology, the natural language processing, low-code platforms, robotic process automation, and more are democratizing technology, putting powerful capabilities into the hands of people all across the businesses. Anywhere and everywhere, bring your own environment. It is time for enterprises to transform remote work from an accommodation to an advantage. From me to we. The global disruption of COVID-19 ignited a scramble for enterprises to reimagine their partnerships, and multi-party systems gained newfound attention. I will conclude by saying that technology can make boldest ambitions achievable, but the full benefits of investments in technology can accrue to the organization only when there is perfect alignment and dovetailing of technology goals with the business goals, strategic vision, and direction set by the organization's leadership. Warm wishes to you all, and I'm sure you will have a fruitful and pleasant experience of this awards event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your address. Dear members, I now have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Ajay Kumar Sahani, IAS Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, to deliver the keynote address. I take pleasure in reading out Sir's bio for the benefit of our audience. Ajay Sahani is an IAS officer of Andhra Pradesh cadre 1984. He played a lead role in the total literacy campaign taken up in Nizamabad district in the early 90s. He has catalyzed the establishment of the International Institute of Information Technology in Hyderabad. He has spent more than 10 years in assignments relating to information technology and e-governance. He has also worked as the Principal Secretary to Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh after the reorganization of the state of Andhra Pradesh. He has also worked in the Government of India as Joint Secretary, Training in the Development of Personnel and Training, as the President and CEO of National E-Governance Division, and as Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas before his current role as Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and I have tremendous pleasure in being part of this August gathering and a wonderful function. Especially my greetings to Professor Deepak Patak, Guruji in many areas in e-governance and in many solutions that we have together reviewed and taken forward in the area of e-governance, whether it is MCA 21 or it is a GEM platform. My greetings also to Shri Rajkumar Rai, Chairman IBA, Shri Sunil Mehta, Chief Executive, Shri Gopal Murli Bhagat, Deputy Chief Executive, also very distinguished members of the jury, Dilip Asbe ji, Gagan Rai ji, and other members of the jury. Simi Chaudhary ji, who is not only the economic advisor here in our ministry, but also the head of the Digidhan mission that has been created in the Ministry of Electronics and IT since the beginning of 2017, when promotion of digital payments was allocated to the Ministry of Electronics and IT as a subject to be taken up. At the outset, I would like to thank the Indian Banks Association for giving me this opportunity. It's at the occasion of IBA's 16th Annual Banking Technology Awards event. The Technology Awards for banking gain tremendous significance as digital technologies are coming in very rapidly, and digital is becoming the way of life. Not just in banking and financial transactions, but now digital is also becoming the way of life in healthcare, in agriculture and primary sector, in education, in smart cities and urban living, in transportation, and almost every other sector, whether it be manufacturing with a new digital avatar, or even living at home with all kinds of new technologies that surround us. So the digital part of whatever we do is going to be increasingly important. Banking will be digital banking, agriculture will be digital agriculture, education will be digital education. It's only a matter of time. And the earlier we recognize this, the better it is. That the conventional modes of conducting business, of running these domains will cede way to a completely new way of organizing ourselves and providing services to our customers, making use of all the emerging technologies along the way. The entire banking industry in the country, first of all, needs to be applauded for the kind of services that they were able to sustain and even improve upon, even at the height of the pandemic. The entire world faced a tremendous crisis with the COVID pandemic. India actually took the lead in creating a very, very stringent lockdown. And I must say that the steps that were taken, very bold steps that were taken in the month of March, April, May, June, etc., and since then, from last year, have helped us tackle the pandemic quite well and emerge from it far less. With far less damage inflicted upon our institutions, upon our systems, upon our people, and with far less morbidity and mortality than comparable geographies anywhere else. The banking in particular, IT industry as well, and banking in particular, not just withstood the brunt of this entire onslaught of the pandemic, I think they excelled in being able to provide services without even any visible setback, taking much larger volumes of transactions, providing new tools and apps in the hands of the clients, and adjusting to a very new mode of working. We did that within the government, so I can share with you what our experience was within the government. Within the government also, we were very fortunate to have something called e-office. Now, we used to use that only as one of the options. About 20-30% of the files would be on e-office. All the remaining files would come in the conventional manner onto our tables, from one table to the other, and they used to flow that way. But the pandemic pushed us, and within 48 hours, we were able to create a solution which we opened up for using from homes. And we provided VPN kind of connectivity. We provided a special way to access that with multi-factor authentication. And we were fully in business. There was no no difficulty at all in creating new files, in taking new decisions, in moving forward with our work, in working from home, even when we could not step out of the house at all. And IT industry at the height of the pandemic, I think 98% of them were working from home. It's such a wonderful feeling to look back on that time, and we all of us need to appreciate that the Indian IT industry is not just for India. Indian IT industry serves the globe. They serve marquee clients in the Fortune 500 across the globe, and there was hardly any dent on the kind of services they kept providing to everyone across the globe, even when only 2% of them could come to their offices. They only sought a little bit of help in, our help in with passes to take some laptops from their headquarters to homes of some of the important employees. And with that, they were actually able to do some magic. And so were the banks. With banks, everything moved on to digital transactions. For many months, I think hardly anyone could visit any branch. They were no permission to visit a branch. And everything was locked down, yet banking was going on unhindered. So really, my thanks to the generals and the the leaders of this entire endeavor, who did us proud when such a serious, unprecedented crisis hit us, that our banking could withstand this kind of pressure. And my compliments also to RBI and the regulators who actually were able to guide all of these processes, and to NPCI, which not only supported the work of the banks, but also kept developing new products and services, bringing new innovation, bringing improvements into the UPI, into many other systems, even as the pandemic was creating havoc in many other domains. The virus has been here. It will still be here for some more time. We are also fortunate that now we have sort of an antidote. We have a vaccine. It's now a race between the virus and the vaccine, and the virus is from our a neighbor that shares the land border with us, and the vaccine is from India. I think it's a very interesting journey ahead, where we will all watch the race between the virus and the vaccine, and I wish all success to the vaccines that our innovators in India, our manufacturers in India, are turning out in such large numbers, not only for India, but also for many other geographies. This is a time when we cannot afford resurgence of the virus to anywhere close to the levels that we have seen earlier, especially the resurgence that we are witnessing in the past couple of weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, especially in Maharashtra and Mumbai, which is the hotbed of our financial sector. I think that is a cause of concern, and I hope that in the race between the vaccine and the virus, banks also put in their effort and join up with the government in whatever way is possible to ensure that the vaccine momentum is further enhanced. All the employees of banks who are eligible with comorbidity, I hope that very shortly the age thresholds will be relaxed, and many more people will be eligible to take the vaccines in India. As and when that happens, please do encourage almost on a saturation basis your employees and reach out even to your customers to ensure that as many as possible get the benefit of vaccine at the earliest. The more people take vaccine, the easier it is to break the chain of transmission. So the virus needs, this virus is very powerful in many ways, but it's extremely weak because from every victim, it has to move on to another available victim. And if you deny it that food, then the virus is no more. So I think it's extremely important that we all join in this race and we put our effort in strengthening the vaccine versus the virus. And let's hope that we will all prove successful in this. With the COVID-19, there are a number of changes in behavior that we have witnessed. People no longer like to even touch cash. Cash is, of course, back. Cash has been with us for a very long time. It's very difficult to wish it away. But I have seen a lot of people prefer a digital transaction even when they have cash in their pocket, even when it is slightly easier to navigate with cash itself. They go to the trouble of fishing out their mobile phones, scanning a QR code, then waiting for another 5 to 10 seconds before the before the intimation goes to the merchant, and then basically completing the transaction in a digital manner. We have to all help this along. I think it's important for us that all the merchants in the country are brought into the digital payments ecosystem. That will not happen with the POS machines. That will happen much more easily with other electronic ways of enablement, especially the QR codes. So I would urge all the banks that are a part of IBA, the entire banking community of India, to step up your efforts to onboard more and more merchants, either through your own teams or through an increasing number of startups and service provider companies that are hungry for your patronage and that actually have feet on the ground. People have to go around, convince the merchants, and banks from their side can really help by making it financially attractive for the merchant to use the QR code based method of receiving payments as the default. So I don't have to spell it out to banks because you are the masters at figuring out even a percentage point of precisely what incentive will actually change behavior of the customers, of the merchants. We are from Digidhan Mission, we are with you in this journey, and we would love to have more thoughts from you as to how from about 1 to 1.5 crore merchants who are on board today, how do we take it forward to cover all the 6 crore merchants who actually receive payments of different kinds? This is a journey that we must embark on together. You are not alone. I believe that we are not alone. You are there with us. And there is a large community of startups and other enablers whom we have to equip, whom we have to trust, whom we have to enable to use their feet on the ground to make this magic happen for us. And it's very important to do this quickly. Once again, our neighboring country has taken the lead in this area. We are among the best in the rest of the world. But we need to be the best in the world. We cannot relax and cannot take it light being second best. So it's exceedingly important for us to set our sights on being the best in whatever we do. And in banking industry, I think this will also be the strength that we garner. If we stay much longer within the comfort zone of whatever the conventional banking has brought us, to that extent we are not preparing ourselves for the next wave of competition. The next wave of competition is coming not from among ourselves. The next wave of competition is coming from the largest, the wealthiest technology companies across the globe. The next challenge will come from those that have very deep pockets. It will come from those who have mastery over the digital systems. Before that happens, I think it's extraordinarily important for the entire banking community to anticipate what new challenges that will bring, because what is anticipated is some kind of disruption might also take place. Are we going to be the banking industry that survives, that thrives in the new era of digital banking, of digital financial services? Or are we going to crib about it and try to get some protection? Believe me, it's not easy to erect fences, because these are digital businesses. A small technological superiority goes a very long way, and it's very difficult to survive in the face of a technologically superior, more user-friendly, cheaper, faster, better, quicker, that kind of a service offering. And those service offerings are already among us. So far, I think banking has done quite well in meeting and adapting to these challenges, but we need to step up, and I think it has to be the step up has to be exponential rather than arithmetic in its journey. So these are some of my thoughts. I think providing remote access to employees, a greater effort into risk management, into managing the higher incidence of frauds that we are witnessing. Those are also very important factors that we must look at. We must invest in them. Cyber threats we have been seeing in my building. The CERTIN operates from here. We have an exceedingly competent team. A FinCert is taking shape with the participation of RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and the PFRDA. And we would welcome the digital leaders of banking to engage more with our CERTIN and the FinCert team to understand what kind of threats, what kind of vulnerabilities we are detecting and we are seeing all the time, and to take our help in preparing yourselves, in going through exercises, elaborate exercises, which help you look at, in case of attack, in case of some breach, how do you react? How do you safeguard yourselves? How do you safeguard your customers? How do we beat back the challenges? And the more we prepare, the better it is for us and for all of our customers as well. Finally, there will be a large number of new technologies that will come in. 2020s is the decade when we will see the advanced data analytics, along with geospatial technologies, along with various facets of artificial intelligence gain maturity. We are also working on a national language translation mission, which will increasingly create tools for us to navigate across all the 22 Indian languages. Again, it would be a pleasure to have banks join us in this journey. Join us in setting challenges to the startup and the technology community to create solutions. And when such solutions start getting created, to start making use of those tools and technologies and services that come from Indian startups, that come from Indian minds. Because in language technologies, we cannot afford to remain dependent on even on the huge technology giants who appear very friendly today. But if the keys of your locker are with them, then one doesn't know how the future would be. So we need to keep the keys of our lockers with us. And this particular locker of Indian language technologies is entirely ours. No one has any business to sort of snatch it away from us. So please join us on that journey as well. Other aspects of robotic process automation, of quantum computing, which will bring opportunities, they will bring challenges. Our invitation to all of you to join us in that journey. We have a number of centers of excellence. We have an excellent center of excellence in financial technologies, FinBlue, that has taken shape in Chennai. Some of the banks are already participating there. Insurance and others are participating. Payment systems, NPCI is also participating there. And apart from the regulatory sandbox that RBI is creating, another sandbox is also being created there. So please join into that effort with your access to your technologies, creating APIs to demo APIs or some kind of systems. Please look at what that holds, because then we can make use of the immense creativity of our startup system, of our young companies, to create solutions that will work across all of banking and help us create completely new products and services in the financial space. So these are some of the thoughts I have for you today. Once again, my compliments to IBA for this wonderful awards event. Celebrating success in digital means that we are actually rewarding the right kind of investment, the right kind of effort within banking. And I hope this awards function also grows from strength to strength. And I would love to be, I am a keen observer of whatever happens in banking. I'd love to be a part of such programs at any point of time. My compliments to all those who have joined. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you indeed, sir. We are thankful that you kindly consented to spare your valuable time and address our members through virtual mode. Dear delegates, I now have pleasure in inviting Dr. Deepak B Fartak, our Honorable Jury Chair for Awards 2021, to share his thoughts and views with you. However, before that, I kindly permit me to read a few lines about Sir. Padma Shri Professor Deepak Fartak obtained his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from SGSITS, Indore in 1969, and his MTech and PhD from IIT Bombay. He has been serving with IIT Bombay since 1971. He headed the CSE department from 1991 to 1994. He was the founding head of Kanwalrekhi School of IT from 1998 to 2002. He currently serves as Professor Emeritus in Department of CSE. His vast research interests include database and information systems, software engineering, system performance evaluation, IT-enabled education, and IT strategy planning. Dr. Fartak was conferred Lifetime Achievement Awards by Scotch Foundation in 2003 by Data Quest in 2008 and by Devang Mehta Business School Award in 2010. He was listed among 50 most influential Indians by Business Week in 2009. And on 26 January 2013, he was conferred the Padma Shri Award by Government of India for his services in science and technology. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for those nice words. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Ajay Prakash Sahni, Secretary, MIT, and my close friend for decades. In fact, I recall with the same passion decades ago when he was showing me around the IIIT Hyderabad, I think it was, when something new was cooking in your mind and in the actual field. I've had the privilege of having worked with the ministry with a series of illustrious secretaries. But let me tell you from what I know of Ajay, the nation is very fortunate that in these critical times, he is at the helm of affairs of policy making and implementation in IT. Thank you, sir, for sparing your time and coming here.
Thank you.
Respected Rajkiran Raiji, the chairman of IBA, my friend Sunil Mehta and other officials of IBA. I have also had the fortunate privilege of being associated with the banking industry, primarily from a technology point of view. Starting, some of you may remember at one time the banks had things called ALPM or automatic ledger processing machines. And the first computers came into State Bank of India, where I and Sarda were involved in 1989 onwards. Since then, somehow or the other, I have been hooked onto the technology development in the banking sector, thanks initially to Dr. Rangarajan and then subsequently so many friends in the banks. Having witnessed the growth of and deployment of IT in banking, let me tell you that what the nation has achieved through you and your colleagues has been absolutely extraordinary. We are amongst the top-rated IT users in the banking sector in the world. I have no doubt about it. Of course, we have come miles and we have miles to go. There is no doubt that we need to make continuous progress. It is in this context that I believe the awards which are being given by IBA are extremely important to serve as recognition and encouragement to all the banks. When I was requested to chair this jury, I was actually uncomfortable because there were so many awards. You know, there are more like 30 categories, and I said, my God, this is a horrendous task. But I was told that no, we have a good knowledge partner, and Neha is here with us. I think along with Neha, there was one Ankur, I recall in one of some of the meetings. They did a marvelous job. I will briefly tell you the way the jury proceeded with the award system. I had, of course, some absolutely extraordinary minds as my colleagues. Ashu Suyash, who comes from CRISIL. She had earlier worked in L&T Finance. My friend Gagan Rai was at the helm of affair at NSDL Infrastructure Limited. Earlier, he was with NSDL. Another friend of mine, young friend, Dilip Asbe, who is the CEO of National Payment Corporation of India. And of course, Shiv Shankar Basin, who is the Chief Technology Officer of NSC. You will notice that none of the jury members are actually bankers. But you will also notice that all of them have deeply been involved into using technology for financial systems, and of course, are familiar with the banking system thoroughly. I like the makeup of the jury system, the jury colleagues, and I therefore accepted. The way we proceeded is, first of all, the award categories were discussed. A questionnaire, which was prepared on the basis of an earlier questionnaire, was discussed very thoroughly, which was to be circulated to all participating banks. And there were important suggestions made to update that questionnaire with additional questions which are relevant. Subsequently, nominations were received from a large number of banks, and I tell you the amount of material that came in could not have been studied by the jury members without the help from our knowledge partner. I would like to particularly thank Neha and her team from Capgemini for doing an absolutely excellent work. In spite of that excellent work, we had some challenges when we met to discuss the ranking, because as I said, banking technology has made tremendous progress in the country. But when you sit on an award committee, you have to force rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is not an easy job to do. We went through all the presentations, all the submissions that were made. Thankfully, Neha's group had worked out the details. I will tell you that there were two extreme situations that we faced. One, which was actually a very pleasant situation, where multiple banks were very close together in our assessment. And it was extremely hard to find out who is the winner and who is the runner. In fact, in some cases, we ended up recommending a joint award to be given. I say that although it was a difficult problem, I say it was a very likable problem, because that means that large number of banks are struggling hard to be at the top in the technology usage. The other extreme, unfortunately, we had banks, particularly in the smaller bank segments and cooperative banks, where there were indeed excellent submissions and excellent work done description, but the difference between the top performer and the subsequent people was not to our liking. I would like to suggest that all the banks, small or big, must ensure that their drive to deploy technology for their banking has to be absolutely top class. Don't forget, the world recognizes us as an IT power in this sector. The second thing that we noticed is that when we were discussing the awards, there were observations which were made by the jury committee members who are actually familiar with what is happening in which bank and so on. But then we had to limit ourselves to what was submitted as documented nomination by the bank. So the second request I would like to make to all participating banks is that you have to make sure that every aspect of your achievement in the category in which you are being nominated for the award is expressly described very accurately and very comprehensively, because the jury will not deviate from what you have submitted. We discussed so many extraneous pieces of information that we had, and we said, this bank has also done that, this bank has also done that. But we, to be true to the spirit of the jury work, we said, no, we'll go strictly by what has been submitted. So this is the last request I would like to make, that the banks should actually take a little bit extra care in writing about their own good work properly and comprehensively. The last point I would like to mention, and I would echo what my friend Sri Ajay Shahani has said, that we are moving very rapidly in this world where the fulcrum of financial and economic center is clearly shifting from west to east. I am not sure how many of you have read a beautiful book called Factfulness by Hans Rosling. It's an amazing book which actually uses the World Bank and the IMF and other details to tell us that this fulcrum of economic and financial center is clearly shifting. In fact, by 2040, the data predicts that 60% of the rich people in the entire human population will be living in Asia. I think we now have to start behaving like a developed country. Then and only then we shall be able to deal with the massive responsibility that the nation will have to take in the polity of the world, and more important, to serve all the 120 crore Indians so beautifully that my pipe dream of a Bhajiwali in Jumri Talaya doing a digital transaction while selling a 10 rupee piece of vegetable to someone will come true very soon rather than late. That is happening. The UPI transactions, as was correctly mentioned, have figured up, and this is one good thing that has come out of this pandemic. But going forward, I hope to see that in subsequent years, these awards are contested by all the banks as a very important point of their own recognition. And these should serve as a impetus for doing greater work and better work. That's all I will say. Thank you so much. And I really am thankful to IBA for giving me this opportunity, through which once again I could get a very closer view of what is happening on the ground in all these banks. Thank you so much.
Thank you indeed, sir. We at IB are sincerely thankful to you for your constant guidance, support, and encouragement. Dear friends, I now have pleasure in inviting Mr. Robin Bhaumik, Chief Business Officer of Manipal Global Education, to deliver the awards partner address. We thank Manipal School of FinTech for being our award partners for 2021. A few words about Mr. Robin Bhaumik. He is an alumnus of UC Berkeley and Calcutta University and a proven business leader with 25 years of global experience in enterprise B2B spanning North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, India, and Japan. Robin has a proven track record for developing and implementing strategies for profitable growth and increasing shareholder value in global technology, education, financial services, healthcare sectors. Robin has built and scaled businesses organically as well as spearheaded new entities and structures resulting from global mergers. In his current role, Robin is responsible for leading Manipal's highest priority and most strategic business initiatives focused on helping clients unlock value from continuous skill-based organizational outcomes. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. And I would really like to thank IBA on behalf of the Manipal Group for this opportunity to partner with you. Before I start, I must confess that a lot of what was talked about by Ajay sir, Rajkiran Rai sir, and Deepak sir, it echoed so closely with whatever I have been through in my personal life and personal journey. So in the introduction, you would have heard that I'm a technologist. Now, a lot of you who have worked either with Manipal very closely or know of us, you know that we are primarily in education and healthcare. Interestingly, when my boss, which is Ranjan Pai, when he was interviewing me for the job, I came from a technology background, and I asked Ranjan, why are you hiring a technologist for an education company? And you know what his response was? He said, Robin, it's a question of time before every business becomes a technology business. And I heard that being echoed across what everything has been said just before this. And it really reaffirms my belief when I look at the opportunity that Manipal has had in the last 12 years of our existence to work with the Indian banking sector. I feel really proud when I see that we have trained, I think, close to 200,000 bankers in 12 years of our existence. And when I hear Ajay sir talking about banking resilience and all of the wonderful things that these bankers did, especially during such a difficult 2020, I really was patting myself on the back while you were speaking, sir, but I will also go out and pat all my faculty members on the back. We have a lot of them who take great pride, and they're all ex-bankers, which is another point of pride for Manipal. I also happen to be the father to two young teenagers, and when I ask them about their financial choices in life, their answers are very interesting. So what they say is that, look, I would like my financial choices or my financial products to be designed around me. I am not looking for off-the-shelf products. I want it to be an experience. So, for example, when somebody flips out a smartphone and decides to pay, let's say, a 15 rupee bill, maybe for a plate of idli, which I did for my lunch today. Uh, I can't imagine doing that with cash, even though I take out at the beginning of the month, every month I take out cash. At the end of the month, I find the same amount of cash still lying in my wallet. Of course, I live in Bangalore, which is extremely, I would say, developed when it comes to digital payments. But Deepak sir, I mean, when you were talking about your dream, I see that happening. I mean, if I go and buy 1 kg of tomatoes, I see a small Paytm card there and I can scan and pay, right? It's amazing. I mean, the transformation that I have seen when I came, I was abroad for many, many years. And when I came back to India in 2007, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of public sector banks around their core banking systems. And I still remember I used to live in Bombay, and I used to be frequent visitors to a lot of the public sector banks in the Bandra Kunda complex. And we were talking about either implementing new instances of core banking systems or upgrading very large instances of core banking systems. From then on, the entire transformation that has happened to 2020, where suddenly everybody had to start working from home. And a lot of these people, had to turn up, especially in branch banking roles. What was really amazing was to see how they could still, turn up for their job in spite of all the difficulties that we had during the period of lockdown. And that just reaffirmed my belief and I would say my pride in the Indian banking system. I also, I'm part of a lot of the new initiatives that we are driving. And one of the areas where we see a significant amount of, I would say, partnership opportunities. And a lot of these partnership opportunities are coming in from public sector banks. One of the biggest interesting areas for us has been in the area of data analytics. And again, data analytics was talked about a little while back. I think, a lot of us talk about the fact that, data is the new oil and, data is being generated at at speeds which is probably doubling. The amount of data that we are generating is almost doubling every year. And I'm sure post-COVID, the situation has become, far more accelerated. When you have so much data, how do you mine that data? How do you make, sense out of that data? I think to the point that Ajay sir made earlier about future competition for banks might come from the large technology players. uh, you know, I'm sure we all know, but I'll still repeat. I think one of the clearest reasons as to why that will happen is because today Google knows me far better than anyone else in my family does, right? I am on the boards of a few startups, and some of the work that they do in doing social media mining and building personas and of individuals, it takes it to the complete next level of what we know fondly as KYC. So today, KYC is not only knowing your customer's home address, his age, or his phone number. KYC is knowing all about what his social media footprint tells you. And those are really some of the areas where a lot of the applications of data and analytics will be going forward. Now, the other significant area, we were very fortunate to be part of the awards process, in the sense that Manipal's School of FinTech, which is what we launched about a year and a half back, is probably the first FinTech school in the world where we partner very closely with the industry. And we are really solving for the biggest challenge posed by digital transformation. I think everybody talks about digital transformation. And after, once we have gone through the initial stages of building plans and architectures and 90-day, 180-day, 12-month kind of plans, it always hits one big question: where are the people? And I'm really proud to say that, again, because of our core competency, what we solve for is the people part of digital transformation, which for us, we believe is the biggest area of transformation that's really required. And for a country like India, we need to do this at scale. So it is no longer good enough to have a few institutions where you have a very high quality of learning. So we were talking about democratization of a lot of the opportunities. And really, true democratization will come when a lot of what industry wants can be delivered at scale. And this can be delivered as a part of every educational institution out there. So that was really the principle behind Manipal's School of FinTech. And we started this just about a year and a half back. We are really working in areas which we are hopeful will define the future of banking. That includes lending. Really, lending seems to be one of the biggest areas of growth. And beyond that, we also operate. So there was discussion around robotics process automation. One of the areas we are applying robotics process automation and in the School of FinTech is in the whole area of wealth management, or wealth tech as it's called. So I'm once again, very thankful to such an esteemed panel. And really thank you, IBA, for giving us the opportunity to be your awards partner. I think the award winners are phenomenal in terms of what they've achieved. And the only word that keeps coming out over and above technology is a word called resilience. And I would once again like to commend and congratulate not only the IBA, but all the banks under the IBA for demonstrating tremendous resilience amongst so much uncertainty that we have had in the last 12 months and above. Once again, thank you on behalf of Manipal, and it's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaumik, for being here with us today. Dear members, it's now time for one more important aspect of today's proceeding, and that is release of Thought Leadership Report. And to do the honors, I would like to invite Ms. Neha Punetar, Vice President and Global Leader, Banking and Capital Markets Transformation Practice at Capgemini, our knowledge partners for the 2021 awards, to do the honors.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And thank you for the opportunity, sir, to be associated with IBA once again in terms of being the knowledge partner, being part of the entire awards selection process. And it was a fabulous experience with the entire jury members. Sir, Dr. Pathak, I think we had a very interesting session in terms of, like you said, deciding who will be the award winners. And I'm sure we look forward to your inputs going forward as well. I must call out my entire team. While I'm the face of Capgemini today, there was a large team that was working behind the scenes in terms of compiling all the information for the awards, as well as in compiling the thought leadership that we are going to share today. So thanks everyone in the Capgemini team as well. Today, I think in the earlier kind of addresses, I found a common and a recurring theme that was called out by all of you. The fact that we see financial services or banking actually touching many sectors in the economy, and the fact that it is going to be all pervasive. So it's no longer just the domain of banks when they talk about how financial services are going to be consumed, and that is going to be an important factor in terms of what I'm going to talk about today. And secondly, the fact that the entire API economy is going to be very critical when we talk about how banks are going to work with different players, whether it's telecom, retail, e-commerce players, and so on. So that's going to be a big enabler in terms of how banks are going to actually maintain their position or maintain their dominance in the industry. So with that, let me, I'm going to share my screen. Do let me know if it's visible. Is it visible to everyone?
A blank screen is your screen. You have to choose a particular window.
Yes.
You
One.
have to choose a particular window from your screen.
I know. 1 minute. I'll just do that. Yes. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, it's visible now.
Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to talk about today is about platform models of platformification and how that's going to really help banks become agile. We heard the theme resilient also, and that goes hand in hand. And how it will help more so in the uncertain times that we saw last year, and which we see continuing in at least the first half of the year in 2021 as well. Let me know if the screen is scrolling down. Is the next slide visible?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. So linked to platformification is the entire theme around open banking and how open banking is helping banks becoming more relevant in the larger ecosystem, how they are actually allowing them to become more intimate with their customers, and we heard those themes, how is it allowing them to actually enhance the customer experience? And this is becoming more and more prevalent as we saw the move last year with the customers becoming more digitally savvy, with the customers, even all kinds of ages. I mean, when there was no choice, they actually adopted and actually embraced, the whole digital kind of banking in a big way. And that's where open banking is going to become more relevant. If you look at the world of open banking, and this is how has the world adopted? And what we are showing here is a different approach that has been adopted through the year throughout the world, starting with regulators who have mandated how open banking should be actually, adopted and how the banks should actually start complying with open banking norms, and starting with countries like UK and Europe, which made it which mandated the PSD2 norms, and actually way back in 2016. So it's almost 5 years that we're talking about in terms of the open banking guidelines, and they were one of the first adopters to somebody like Australia, which actually came up with their CDR kind of regulations and mandated open banking. They've started with banks, but it is soon going to actually move to the telecom sector, retail sector, and even utilities. So this is where we have seen the regulators play a role. In some countries, we have actually seen the industry themselves adopting open banking in a big way. So a classic case is Singapore, where while the Monetary Authority of Singapore didn't really mandate it, but it was, they gave certain guidelines, they didn't enforce it, but we saw a lot of banks actually embracing open banking in a big way. So also in one of the largest markets in North America, where open banking is at least figuring on the 82% of the banks within North America see open banking as the top agenda. So it is becoming more and more important. In case of our country within India, we see some steps being made around open banking. We really don't have it as a mandate. But having said that, especially in the payment space, and it was actually touched upon in all the previous addresses today, that's really made a big difference in terms of how we've seen the entire digital payment network take off. While it cannot be called classic open banking, but there are a lot of enablers already in place to allow banks to adopt open banking. Now, when I say open banking, what does it mean? And why, and what is really open banking? Last year when we came out with the thought leadership paper along with IBA, we had spoken more about digital banking, and the natural progression is in terms of in terms of open banking, and then actually translating to OpenX. What we mean about open banking is earlier the banks were the custodians of customer data, and they were the only ones. It was a two-way relationship between the customers and the banks, and anything to do with customer data was really the repository was the bank. So when it came to KYC, when it came to, we spoke about any analytics we want to run our customer data, banks were the sole recipients or holders of that data, not even recipients, the holders of that data. With open banking, what a lot of regulators have mandated, and in some cases the customers are asking, is that my data, which is with the banks and with my permission, should actually be allowed to be shared with many other providers, and these could be the likes of fintechs, this could be like of payment gateways, this could be the likes of account aggregators, this could be the likes of e-commerce players, whoever that may be in the ecosystem. But the expectation is that the data now is actually shared, and it is actually done as part of the trust that exists between the banks and the consumers, and it is actually shared with a wider ecosystem. And why is the customer actually asking for that, or why is it really required? A lot of regulators who have actually come up with this believe that banking services have to be more innovative. We spoke about fintech earlier. The fintech providers are expected to be more innovative in terms of their product services, whether it's PFM, wealth management, or we're looking at in terms of even lending. And that's where they believe that the customers will get better solutions when they look at these fintechs. So the idea is to have a better product experience and product innovation and leading to a better customer experience. So the intent is that no longer would the banks actually be the only holders of data. It will be shared data, and the recipients of that customer data are going to be just about any provider or any entity in the ecosystem which can actually look at providing a better service. So the experience is going to improve as a result of that. And the whole focus actually is going to be on the customer. Repeatedly, we speak about customer being the center of it. So that's really the driver behind the open banking. And why has COVID-19 or the entire kind of turmoil that we went, why has it actually impacted the banks? It has actually fast forwarded or actually pushed a lot of these decisions as far as the banks are concerned. So no longer there's really the luxury of time to think through it. It's going to become more and more imperative. And why is that so? If you look at the screen in terms of what is really the expectation of the customers in terms of the value-added services, we heard from Mr. Baumek what is the expectation from his teenagers and who are really going to be the next set of customers for us. For them, it doesn't matter, or rather, the bank is invisible to them. What is important for them is what is the experience I'm getting, and frankly, whether it is customized to me. So a lot of value-added services are going to be important. We had carried out a survey of customers across the world, and we had asked them what do they feel, what is their definition of value-added services. And some of the top ones which I would talk about is the fact that there should be really privileged access to e-commerce sites or sites which give discounts. That's what the value-added service is, and that's why you see a lot of e-commerce sites actually foraying into payments, they are foraying into lending, and really that becomes the anchor point for them to capture the customer. And no longer, the customer will also know which bank is actually underwriting that loan. That is really invisible to the customers. A lot of customers are also asking, and it's a good thing, Dr. Fartak mentioned how the wealth is going to be created in Asia, or the future wealth is going to be concentrated in Asia. And a lot of the customers are actually asking for goal planning, what is the investments that they should do, and really the young population today are going to be really the wealth creators or the HNIs of tomorrow. So that's really going to be important. And for a lot of others, it's also the value-added services, whether it's to do with their medical well-being, or it is to do with in terms of helping them in terms of tax filing, government activities, and so on. So really, we're talking about the entire kind of life cycle of a customer, and not life cycle how we saw in banking earlier, where we said life cycle only from his need for financial services. Here we are talking about life cycle, which is to do with all his services and what he might be consuming on an ordinary day or during his lifetime, and how do banks actually become a part of that entire life cycle and ensure the customer stickiness. And that's really where open banking comes in. So where does platformification come in, and how is it really going to help banks to actually achieve that. What we talk about platform models is in terms of models which will rather the kind of layer that the banks will be creating, which should allow them to actually participate in this entire life cycle of the customer, which will allow them to be more nimble, which will allow them to be more agile, and which will allow them to actually partner and collaborate with a lot of these providers rather than actually working as a monolith on their own. And what we have found that banks which have actually gone around this platform journey, which means, not really restricting to the core, but actually looking at a more API driven kind of a platform, we find that it has actually impacted a lot of metrics in a positive way, whether it's from efficiencies, where we almost see twice kind of an improvement or savings on the efficiency, or the fact that whether it's helping them in reach, which is 1.7x, which means they're actually able to target many new to bank customers, many customers which are erstwhile not been banking with them. So there are many, many benefits that may accrue when we look at banks adopting open banking and where they're looking at an entire platform driven model. And if you look at it, we had actually in our survey had asked for this in input. When we did this global survey, we had Indian banks also participating in it. And almost 2/3 of the Indian bank executives believe that platform models are going to be the norm, and they are going to be actually absolutely disruptive and is going to be really the need of the hour for all of them. So it's an important statistic, and it's an important guidance in how we see Indian banks adopting this. What does it take to thrive in the platform economy? And here we are just actually giving a representative examples in terms of how different banks globally have actually adopted the entire platformification and open banking agenda. In some cases, and we have actually worked with one of the largest banks, which is HSBC, they built an in-house platform to actually see how they collaborate with partners and actually launch new products. And we worked with them. And actually, if you look at it from the outcomes point of view, we have seen Forex innovation in terms of the products. The markets that have been actually covered is, a lot of markets that have been covered 30 plus, and there's a lot of reduction. There's a faster time to market when it comes to new products and services. So it's been absolutely phenomenal. And I must say, it's been a 4 to 5 year journey with them. They were one of the early adopters. In some cases, we have seen actually banks preferring to buy and actually acquire services and not necessarily invest that kind of time. And that's where we have BNP Paribas actually, who acquired Compton to actually go and create this platform-based capabilities. And in some cases, we have a shared model. And we find this increasingly being used. A classic example is Raisin, where we have 75 plus banks actually using the Raisin platform, where they actually share their financial service product services, which can then be adopted by the customers. At the same time, it can also be used by fintech providers. So they actually act as the intermediary between the customers and banking services. So different strategies succeeding, not to say that one size fits all, and it has been extremely successful in different markets. But in all cases, what we saw is banks recognizing the importance of platformification and going ahead and building it. I'll just, so if what you can see on my screen is around at the bottom are the banks who actually hold the banking licenses, and they do actually have created the capabilities. And historically, they've created the capabilities. They've invested in products. They've created the compliance. They've created deep kind of risk models. So it's really where they have created the IP around these products. But having said that, they do. I mean, what is required importantly is if they want to actually participate in as I said, the customer life cycle. And the customer life cycle, and this is just representative, by no means it's an exhaustive way of how customers are interacting with you. But if they really want to participate in this customer life cycle and embed financial services in each of these touch points, then they have to create this infrastructure, which is around creating the APIs to actually start interfacing with the with these providers, and that's where we talk about what is banking as a service model. In which case, the bank, in some cases, might also be white labeling the services and providing to any of these providers. So when I said if there's a airline, or if there is a retail company which is providing a loan, at times it may be seen as a lending product from these providers, but what will be at the back of it is some bank will be underwriting the risk and will be actually providing the capability. So banking as a service model is becoming extremely relevant and popular as we go along. Lastly, I think it's very important to recognize the immense work that has been done by the Indian government, the regulator, as well as all the banks in terms of creating a thriving ecosystem. I mean, we are definitely, there are lots of achievements we can actually count to, our credit to allow open banking to thrive and flourish. Importantly, and I touched upon it, is the fact that digital payments has been core thrust, and as well as and has been around for some time. So it's definitely pushed the whole open banking, where like the examples that you gave, it is the smallest vegetable vendor to a large kind of e-commerce player where it's embedded in the customer journey. There are lots of fintechs who are actually participating and are working with the open bank. So we have a lot of banks who have actually set up the developer portals, have set up a sandbox environment which allows these fintechs to actually work with the banks. So it's very important. The regulatory frameworks that have been set up, while not necessarily around open banking, but they have been set up around P2P lending, digital payments, and even in terms of short-term loans and so on, which is ensuring that the customer gets the confidence and trust to liaise with all these providers. And the fact that there is a very robust digital infrastructure that is being set up in place, whether we talk about the India Stack, the eKYC, and even more recently, the account aggregator, the SEMATI that has been set up, or OSEN that has been set up. I think all these are definitely propelling or actually setting the stage for more and more banks in India to adopt platformification and move towards open banking. So this was a gist of the thought leadership paper that we have shared. I'm sure a lot of the copies will come to your desk, either electronically or in physically, and it would be great to get your feedback. But this was a short overview of what we have covered in our thought leadership paper. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Neha ma'am and Capgemini, for being our esteemed knowledge partner for Awards 2021. Dear delegates, we now move on to humbly acknowledge the hard-working efforts our jury members of Awards 2020. We offer our sincere appreciation and gratitude to our respected jury chair and his team for their untiring and inspirational efforts for the 2020 awards. The awards jury, headed by Fartak sir, ensured intense deliberations and checks. Jury members offered analytical guidance and recommendations to Team IBA and our knowledge partners, and which helped shape the outcome of 2021 nominations filed by various member banks. And for the year 2019-2020, our jury chair was joined in by 4 highly reputed senior industry professionals. Moving forward, we offer our humble gratitude to the following personalities. Chairman of Awards Jury, Dr. Deepak B Fartak. Jury member, Ms. Ashu Suyas, MD and CEO, CRISIL S&P Global. Jury member, Mr. Dilip Asbe, Chief Executive Officer, National Payments Corporation of India. Jury member, Mr. Gagan Rai, former MD and CEO, National Securities Depository Limited. And jury member, Mr. Shiv Kumar Basin, Chief Technology Officer, National Stock Exchange. Thank you, dear jury members. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now hand over the proceedings of the award ceremony to my colleague, Mr. Devi Shankar. Over to you, Devi.
On. Yeah. A very good afternoon to you, distinguished attendees and distinguished dignitaries and special invitees. I'm your host, Devi Shankar, and it gives me inestimable pleasure to be inviting each of you to the 16th IBA Banking Technology Awards. Albeit this is a virtual medium, all of us did wish that we were to meet physically, but there's still some time left, and it gives me inestimable pleasure to welcome you to the virtual summit, ladies and gentlemen. We are all set to witness the much awaited IBA Banking Technology Awards program now. As we look back, ladies and gentlemen, into the past 15 sterling years of the IBA Banking Technology Awards, we humbly acknowledge the zeal, the spirited participation by member banks. The journey of a decade and a half was interspersed by active participation and support of leading personalities, from statesmen to scientists, from senior bureaucrats to regulators. As someone said, the best part of competition is that through it we discover what we are capable of and how much more we can actually do than we ever believed was possible. How true these words are. With these words, I cordially welcome our great achievers and announce the runners-up and winners in various categories of the 2020 IBA Banking Technology Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, for the year under review, the jury deemed it fit to include the following 7 categories of awards: the Best Technology Bank of the Year, Best Use of Data of IT and Data Analytics, Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives, Best Financial Inclusion Initiatives, Best Payments Initiatives, Best FinTech Adoption, and the Most Innovative Project. So let's go ahead and find out who are the lucky winners and the runners-up. I will now start with the first category, which is the Best Payments Initiative. With your permission, now hold your breath, sit back, and enjoy this evening of glittering awards that's coming your way. The Best Payments Initiatives in the Private Sector Banks category. The runners-up, ladies and gentlemen, is Axis Bank. Congratulations, Axis Bank. Now, who's the winner? The winner in the same category is ICICI Bank. We now move on to the Best Payments Initiatives in the Public Sector Banks category. We have a joint runner-up, and that's the good news. That's what Dr. Fartak was telling us about. The first joint runner-up, and I'm extremely pleased to announce the name of Canara Bank. Congratulations, Canara Bank. I now move on to the second joint runner-up. And any guesses? The second joint runner-up is Bank of Baroda. Now, let's move on to the winner in this particular category, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely delighted to announce the name of State Bank of India. Now we move on to another very important category, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the best use of IT and data analytics. We first start with the foreign banks segment, and we have a runner-up. The jury deemed it fit to award this to HSBC. Congratulations, team HSBC. Now, who could be the possible winner? So, the best use of IT and data analytics, foreign banks, the winner is Citibank. So, having been through with the foreign banks, ladies and gentlemen, I now move on to the small banks segment in the same category, which is best use of IT and data analytics. We have a wonderful runner-up, and that's Karur Vysya Bank. Congratulations to the entire team of Karur. I now move on to declare the winner, and I am very pleased to announce the name of South Indian Bank. Now we move on to the best use of IT and data analytics in the large banks category, ladies and gentlemen. We have a wonderful runner-up and the jury deemed it fit to give it in to State Bank of India. Congratulations, State Bank of India, for multiple awards. And we now move on to the winner in this category of best use of IT and data analytics. And I'm pleased to announce the name of ICICI Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, I now move on to a category which is very close to the hearts of all the bankers, and that is the financial inclusion category. So the best digital financial inclusion initiatives are being recognized and honored today. And we first start with the small finance banks category. The runner-up best digital financial inclusion initiatives is AU Small Finance Bank. Congrats team AU. And who could be the winner? Any guesses? Ladies and gentlemen, my honor to announce the name of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Best wishes to team Ujjivan. We now train our attention to the regional rural banks, which is one so important category of banking in this country today. So the best digital financial inclusion initiatives, regional rural banks, we start with the runner-up. And the runner-up, and I want to congratulate Team Telangana Gramina Bank. Now the winner, best digital financial inclusion initiatives, the regional rural banks category is Baroda Rajasthan Kshetriya Gramin Bank. So what's the next segment? The next segment, we move on to cooperative banks. Same category, best digital financial inclusion initiatives. The runner-up is none other than Saraswat Cooperative Bank. Congratulations, Team Saraswat. Now, the winner in this category, and the jury deemed it fit to give it to the Ahmedabad District Cooperative Bank. Congratulations, ADC Bank. Now, we move on to the small banks category. Best digital financial inclusion initiatives, small banks. The first category winner, the runner-up is J&K Bank, the Jammu and Kashmir Bank. Congrats to the team of the Jammu and Kashmir Bank. We now move on to the winner in this category, and the winner is Punjab and Sindh Bank. Congrats, Team PSB. Ladies and gentlemen, we now go on to the much awaited large banks category, best digital financial inclusion initiatives. After a lot of thorough deliberations, the jury decided that there will be a joint runner-up here. The first joint runner-up, and I'm extremely pleased to announce the name of Punjab National Bank. Congrats, Team PNB. The second joint runner-up, and which is sharing the honors with PNB, is ICICI Bank. Congratulations, Team ICICI. Now, who's the winner? So we've just dug it into the awards cookie jar, and the winner in this category is State Bank of India. Congratulations, Team SBI. Ladies and gentlemen, with a few categories behind us, we now surge ahead, and we're going to now announce the winners and the runners-up in the best IT risk and cybersecurity initiatives. I will first start with the small finance category. The runner-up in this category is Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. The winner, Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives in this category is FinCare Small Finance Bank. Now let's move on to the regional rural banks, ladies and gentlemen. RRB's Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives. The runner-up is none other than Baroda Rajasthan Kshetriya Gramin Bank. The winner, can I see this bank again coming on stage if it was a physical one to come and stake this award? The winner, Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives in this category is Telangana Gramina Bank. Now we move on to the important cooperative banks sector also. Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives, bank segment cooperative banks. The runner-up is Bharat Cooperative Bank. Congratulations. Now the winner, again, the jury was totally in agreement. They were in unison that there should be a joint winner in this category. The first joint winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Saraswat Cooperative Bank. And the joint winner in this category, the second joint winner, is the Kalupur Commercial Cooperative Bank. Congratulations, Team Kalupur. We now move on to the foreign banks category, Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives, ladies and gentlemen. The runner-up in this category is Team HSBC. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Citibank. Having done so many awards, it's now my honor to surge ahead and announce the winners in the small banks category, Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives. The runner-up is once again honored to announce the name of Karur Vysya Bank. And the winner, any prizes for guessing, ladies and gentlemen, it's South Indian Bank. Congratulations. Congratulations, Team SIB. And we now move on to a separate category, which is called the medium banks category, in the same segment, which is IT risk and cybersecurity initiatives. The runner-up in this category, ladies and gentlemen, is Federal Bank. Congratulations to the Federal. And the winner in this Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives, the winner in this category, ladies and gentlemen, is Bank of Maharashtra. Congratulations, Team Bank of Maharashtra. We now move on to the large banks category in Best IT Risk and Cybersecurity Initiatives. Dear attendees, we again have a tie here. We have a joint runner-up, and the jury decided that it should be decided. It has to be shared between two banks, and the first joint runner-up in this category is Bank of Baroda. The second joint runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, the jury decided that it is befitting to award this to Punjab National Bank. Congrats once again, Team PNB. Now, the winner, I'm extremely delighted to announce the name of Union Bank of India. Congrats, Team UBI. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, the jury decided to add one more very important category to the existing categories of awards, and that's the best fintech adoption. And it was decided that it would be held across all the banks. So it would be judged and analyzed across all the banks. And the winner in the best fintech adoption across all banks is ICICI Bank. Congratulations, team ICICI. Ladies and gentlemen, I now move on to another very interesting category, and which is the most innovative project. And the jury had a lot of deliberations in declaring the winners of this category as well. So we start with the small banks, and the most innovative project, the winner in the small banks category is, and I'm delighted to announce the name of South Indian Bank. We move on to the medium banks in this category. Most innovative project. The winner in the medium banks category is none other than Federal Bank. Now let's move on to the large banks. Most innovative project, large banks. The winner, the leader, State Bank of India. Congratulations, Team SBI. Ladies and gentlemen, we have exhausted almost all the categories, but we have one very, very impressive, very important, and much sought after award category, and which is the Best Technology Bank of the Year. And it's much sought after for the past 16 years, I can tell you that from my experience. So the Best Technology Bank of the Year award, we are starting with the small banks first. The runner-up in the small finance sector is Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Now, who could be the possible winner in this category? The jury decided to award this to Equitas Small Finance Bank. Congratulations, Team Equitas. We now train our attention to the regional rural banks in the Best Technology Bank of the Year category. And we again have a joint runner-up, and that's really very good news for us. And the joint runner-up in the Best Technology Bank of the Year in this particular category is Baroda Gujarat Gramin Bank. Congratulations, Team Baroda Gujarat. The second joint runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, is Karnataka Gramin Bank. With so many awards behind us, I now move on to the winner in this particular category, ladies and gentlemen. The winner in this particular category, Best Technology Bank of the Year, and this particular segment is Baroda Rajasthan Kshetriya Bank. Next category, please. Best Technology Bank of the Year, bank segment, Cooperative Banks. So who could be the possible runners-up and winners? The runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, is TJSB Sahakari Bank. Congratulations, TJSB. And the winner in Best Technology Bank of the Year, Cooperative Banks category, is Saraswat Cooperative Bank. Now let's please the foreign banks who applied for this category. Best Technology Bank of the Year, foreign bank segment, the runner-up, and I'm extremely delighted to announce the name of Citibank. Congratulations, Team Citi. Now, any guesses, ladies and gentlemen, who could be the winner, Best Technology Bank of the Year in foreign banks category? It's Standard Chartered Bank. Congratulations, Team Stancy. Now we move on to one more segment, which is the small bank segment. Best Technology Bank of the Year. The runner-up is Team South Indian Bank. And the winner in this particular segment is the Jammu and Kashmir Bank. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm inching closer to curtains down, but not before I announce a few more important awards. We are now going to focus our attention on the medium bank segment, Best Technology Bank of the Year. The runner-up in this category, delighted once again to call out the name of Federal Bank. Now, the Best Technology Bank of the Year winner in this particular segment is Yes Bank. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know a few of you are waiting with bated breath to know the winners in the large bank category. Best Technology Bank of the Year, large banks. I'm honored and privileged to announce the following names. The runner-up, Best Technology Bank of the Year, the runner-up is ICICI Bank. Congratulations, team ICICI. And who could be the winner? Best Technology Bank of the Year, winner, large banks category, Team Bank of Baroda. So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. It's now curtain downs on this edition of the awards, and you found it rapid fire, I know, but that's the way virtual events are designed, so that we spend about 2 or 3 hours of crisp quality time. But if I was on stage, this program would have gone for 4 or 5 hours in the evening. But we've got the constraint of time, and the dignitaries who are present here, that time is so valuable for us. So we decided to make it very crisp, very short. But at the same time, the past few weeks have been very intense with a lot of deliberations and an excellent job by the jury and the knowledge partners, and of course the entire IT team. So it's right now curtains down on this edition. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful online audience today. The 16th annual edition is a reflection of the hard work and the passion of Team IBA and the support extended by various partners across levels. To close this ceremony on the right note, may I now call upon Mr. Gopal Murli Bhagat, Deputy Chief Executive of Indian Banks Association, to deliver the word of thanks. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
A very good evening to all our distinguished invitees and member attendees. Today, I experience a sense of accomplishment even as your association was able to post one more remarkable edition of its annual Technology Excellence Awards, albeit via virtual mode. A fledgling thought process that started way back a decade and a half ago has today set unmatched industry standards. This 16th annual edition of IBA's Banking Technology Award is but a culmination of several months of intense planning, deliberations, and interactions amongst various groups. And all along, the only enshrined objective was to ensure a stellar success of this landmark event, despite the adversities and operational difficulties that the teams would face on account of minimum physical interactions. I would like to humbly and sincerely thank the following dignitaries and teams without whom we would not have seen the dawn of this wonderful day. The entire management committee of Indian Banks Association, led by our esteemed chairman, Shri Rajkiran Rai, who saw eminent wisdom in continuing with rich legacy of these awards. A word of gratitude for the management team at IBA, under leadership of Chief Executive Shri Sunil Mehta ji, that extended unequivocal support to this exclusive initiative. Chairman, Managing Directors and CEOs, Executive Directors, Board Members, Senior Executives of member banks and award winners, and all member banks who participated in this year's award nomination process with tremendous zeal, enthusiasm, and with a healthy spirit of competition. Shri Ajay Kumar Sahni ji, IAS Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, for sparing his valuable time with us today and delivering his keynote address for the benefit of our dear members. Padam Shri Professor Deepak Shri Pathak, Professor Emeritus, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai, and our Honorable Jury Chairman for the 2021 awards, along with his wonderful team of awards jury, who have been embodiments of rigid analysis and who have guided and motivated Team IBA at every stage of the awards nomination and jury process. Our knowledge partners, Capgemini, who have, like last year, ensured timely, informative exchange of inputs and who have assisted our jury members in a highly proficient manner. A word of sincere gratitude to our award partners, Manipul FinTech Global and Memento partner, SAS India. Thank you so much for joining us this year. A word of thanks for the FICCI team for hosting this event on their virtual platform and to our event partners, TFCI Events. I would also like to thank our various goods and services agencies for their timely and professional services. And lastly, sincere word of appreciation, ladies and gentlemen, for the stupendous efforts put in by various departments and team members within Indian Banks Association. Those who have worked tirelessly and with renewed vigor for the past several months in order to ensure a resounding success of the awards. Dear IBA members, I want to take this opportunity to let you know that your inspiration and constant involvement keeps us going forward in this inexorable march. Even as circumstances and conditions improve dramatically around us, IBA plans to present more value-added avenues of knowledge and networking in the coming months. And for this, we solicit your usual encouragement, support, and motivation. I will end my vote of thanks with a quote on success by Winston Churchill, who said, "Success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, sir, for delivering the word of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it has been a wonderful and enriching experience to host our various dignitaries, our winners and participants, and I thank each one of you. Without you, this wouldn't have been possible. This is a big, huge teamwork that we could manage in the past few years. Now, I also wish to bring to your kind attention that all the award winners, that the IBA team will reach out to you in the following days for the collection of trophies and certificates. So kindly await a communication from IBA's side, and that will reach you very shortly. Please take great care of yourself, and I hope to see you more sooner than later. Thank you, goodbye, and Jai Hind, and see you in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.